I guess we are off to our next big enemy. I'm kind of afraid to do something up here, which is actually for a quest that I'm actually not supposed to do right now. But I think since this is my first playthrough, there will be so much stuff that I miss, so much stuff that I mess up. So I'm not really sure if there even is a way for me to excel in this. There's a big wolf here that I don't necessarily want to kill because I really, really adore wolves. I really, really like them. I think they're just majestic creatures. Maybe I'm a little bit romanticizing about wolves, but just look at that. Sorry? I want to start this off with having the upper hand, with having the advantage. I don't know if I really can backstab a wolf. Acquire materials. No, thank you. Okay, just walking over his tail shouldn't be a problem. Is a backstab possible? I'm kind of too afraid to try. So let's do a heavy attack. Ouch! You do a lot of... You are magic! Oh, thank God. You are a magic wolf. And you are a quick wolf, holy... What is wrong with you? Why? How can you be so awesome? I so regret killing you, but... You are just as... You are terrifying, but awesome. Being up here is kind of... I really don't like being up here. It makes me kill wolves. And somehow I really, really want to kill the wolves since they are cool fights. And just to be learning what... to learn what they're capable of is kind of awesome. But I really, really don't want to kill them. Can't I just befriend them? Okay, not if I play it like this. Come on! Thank you, thank you. And the Academy of Ria Lucaria. Just there in the distance. I mean, we also definitely have to go there some time. But I don't know, I'm really a fan of skipping places in this game. Since it's giving me the chance to just go off and about and look at everything without necessarily following any kind of order. I'm kind of tempted just to do so. It's really fun. You can tell me what to do. Oh wait! I might have a theory. A few streams ago, we have been ending up in this one city with the corpse of the dragon lying everywhere. So maybe the gate we just saw, this gate leads into the city? Oh, we are so going to check this out. If this is true, I think I have found my next tough place where I just can boost myself up, get stronger and stronger and stronger. So we won't face any kind of dangers in here. Like I bet. It will be so funny when coming back to Stormvale Castle and fighting Godric the Grafted. I mean, I think he will pretty quickly die. This is the way. Or maybe we could go a little bit longer. Okay. No, I need to focus. I need to know. I need to choose a way which I want to follow. And I'm always bad in choosing my way. I will not go in there where the hands are. Those hands. I don't like them. I'm kind of sad that Iggy didn't say anything after me clearing out the castle. Getting rid of the spell that kills literally everything in here. Okay. Guess I can't really have everything. Oh, I could have just jumped down here. I didn't realize that. A few more Trina lilies. Just going through Limgrave, picking up some plants. This is what the Elden Lord is doing. Picking up plants. I'm really the honorable hero everyone thinks I am. The honorable hero. A hero. Well, actually, I'm kind of the worst person ever. Like, there's nothing and no one. Or there are just a few NPCs who I'm sparing. Hey, it's kind of mean, to be honest. Okay, where exactly am I going? Sure as hell, I'm not going into the direction I wanted to go. I probably should have gone into the other direction. But there's a cave. Here, somewhere. I love things. I love how much damage I'm doing. Can I get off? Can I get off torrent in here? Yes, I can. Nice. Okay, now it's over. Sorry. I don't even need to do a heavy attack against this guy. So I could just as well be on torrent this whole time. So I think we are back to the start. Like in the first few streams I walked through the Ionia Lake this whole time. And I kind of feel like this could also be what we are doing today. I mean, just to be perfectly fair, the Ionia Lake is such a huge environment, so I guess it's kind of fair to spend plenty of time walking through it and looking at everything. Golden seed, yes! Wait, there's an enemy? Or can those poison things damage each other? And I still have also a few places in Limgrave to look through. I just remembered. Ooh. To be honest, if there's one place left in Limgrave that I would consider difficult to beat at my level, I definitely wouldn't know how to handle that. Like, if I meet a difficult situation in here somewhere, I would be like, oh, okay, I've met my cap. I'm at a place where I'm supposed to be also according to how the developers thought this game was meant to be played. But if I would find such a situation in Limgrave now, I would be very confused on how the actual developers thought this game would be played. Like, how much time are you actually supposed to spend in Limgrave and how much... Smithing Stone 5, yes! And how much levels were you supposed to get there? How many upgrades and how much stuff in general? This place looks nice. Before I climb the ladder, I have kind of the feeling that the ladder will lead me to the cave. Yeah. Yeah. Before I do that, I want to look around if I have missed anything down here. I mean, this is one of the advantages if I have looked through a place firmly. No. Oh, nice. I do not have to come back here again. But actually this is a From Software game, so actually you would have to come and look in every place again to see if there's something about a quest. To see if you've missed something. which would be kind of cruel in a game as big as Elden Ring. Oh, there doesn't seem to be anything here. Except for a neat looking waterfall. But yeah, it would be kind of cruel if we would have to check every place in this game for every quest because you don't know what's happening where. To be sure you don't miss anything at any point of time. Which I guess was also kind of a cool part about Bloodborne or Dark Souls. That sometimes you talked with the character and then they would just appear at a completely random place. Oh. What are you doing up here? Is there something here? Yeah, they would appear at a completely random place. Which you didn't know, but I think in comparison to Elden Ring, Bloodborne and Dark Souls had small maps. This is a gigantic map. If you would have to look to check every place without any kind of hint to where one thing could be. Like for example, the quest of Eric? Was he called Eric? I don't know. The one who lost his daughter. I would need to actually find him again, just somewhere. Like somewhere. I wouldn't know how to do that. Maybe he's pointed in my map or something, but I wouldn't really be sure how to find him again. But anyway, that's not what we have to bother about, to think about right now. I am in need of a smithing stone, sombering smithing stone 8 for my main weapon. Which I kind of believe I will play the rest of the game with. If I don't find something more awesome. Those are not the crystal cave miners, those are just the regular miners. Tuh. At least I'm finding a lot of smithing stones 4 in here. I really need to make sure not to die in here. I would have to kill several enemies again. That was kind of cruel. I thought I would just backstab him, not including him into the floor. Okay. But he thought about trapping me. I surprised him. Oh, come on. That's not fair. This is not what I meant to do. I do not regret having bought the spell. Stop that crap. You know, I've already killed plenty of you. Oh. Not having this weapon two-handed is unusual for me. Ooh, that was a bad performance. But anyway. I'm wasting a little bit too much stuff right now. I mean, I still need to defeat the boss in here. Oh, come on. No. Come on! Don't hit the wall. I hope I have enough FP to heal myself through this place. But yeah, having this poison, this anti-poison spell, this cure spell, really comes in handy. Oh, it's going up. Yeah, that's kind of unexpected. It's going up for a long time. There were definitely some places where I could have jumped off this elevator. Ah, crystals. You didn't see anything? Ah, die like the rest. Die like your friend. Why is this game so cruel? Why am I feeling so cruel in this game? Like in Bloodborne, I could talk my way out of this situation with saying, okay, they are all beasts, and I'm just the hunter trying to kill them. And even if not, maybe I'm the beast for them. It's a delicate situation in Bloodborne. You don't really know who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, but you were unable to tell anyway. But here it feels like I'm just cruel killing all of these guys. I'm just coming into this world claiming to be the Lord, killing everyone. I don't feel like being the good guy in this game, to be honest. Well, I felt like being the good guy in Bloodborne, however. Don't get up. Oh, I knew it. I so did knowing it. I did ding dong ding ding knew it. I did the knowing of it. Sombering Smithing Stone? Sombering Smithing Stone 4, nice. I would have been so disappointed if I would have gone into this cave trying to find a Sombering Smithing Stone 3 and ending up with the Sombering Smithing Stone 4. Runak! Still not sure why, for what I have them? Oh. He was lazy anyway. Taking a break. He can just as well take a break forever. You see what this game is turning me into? Is there even a boss at the end of this one? At least a smithing stone. Kind of doesn't seem that way. I am where I kind of... I am kind of where I wanted to be. There's the gate we wanted to go through. Neat. Activating this checkpoint. Let's actually go back and see if we can jump out or if there's any reason to jump out of this one long elevator ride. Could be. Could well be. Oh, there's something. Okay, there is at least one object. Come on. Yeah, thank you. But I could think that this is it. A smithing stone 5. Yay. Doesn't seem like there's anything left for us here. That's all the same to me. Okay, so another elevator. Great. What do we have in store for us? For me, for you, for everyone. Oh, it's not that long. I thought this would just be a cave, like any other mine or cave or stuff. But I think this is actually a whole dungeon. But actually first I thought it would just be a cave or a mine like anyone else. Then I thought it would lead me just up where I've been before I went down here. And now I kind of believe that it is a whole little dungeon, but a more creative one. And I would like that. I would really love that. If this is a longer and more awesome dungeon than the others. Isn't the one? Yeah, he is coming. Hello! You really are scary little bats. But so far, if this is a dungeon and would lead to fighting a boss fight, I would think that this would be awesome. This is one of those things that I've missed, that I've criticized about this game, which I've formally taken back already. When finding this underground cave, I criticized a lot that all the dungeons... What did I do? That all the dungeons felt so small and not really important, like all those root dungeons with the watchdogs. But to be honest, I was just too harsh and too fast. Oh, Submarine Smithing Stones 3. Nice. A little bit late, but nice. I still take it. Yeah, but I just hadn't seen that much of the game. So I still think it's sad that many of the dungeons are just so small and not really that amazing or that surprising to look through. In the end, it's just going through a cave and then having the end boss. But by now I think it's really fair, considering how much there is in this game, and they can't turn everything into something so big. But especially in the first few hours of this game, I was missing those big dungeons. So that was the kind of critic I had, but I take that back. Maybe the critics now could just be that it takes too long till they introduce those big dungeons, which can be really a critic at the game, which was just unlucky for me, since I never found them. But yeah, a dungeon like this that starts off at the cave and then surprises you being a whole village inside of those ruins, like almost a whole society. That's something really, really awesome. I am really impressed and amazed by this game. Ooh, there's another one of those bats who are singing here. Double kill. Nice. Huh? Triple kill? No, double kill. Couldn't actually tell anymore how many that was. Those singing bats who I thought would be important, but in the end they are just singing bats. Maybe like mother bats, the female bat, the queen bats, that aren't really that strong, but are just the queen because they are soothing and kind of enchanting the other bats. Oh. I can't really sneak onto you. Oh, hey! Oh, hey! Ouch! What? Okay. I may have been right with my theory about the queen bat, since she was just capable to spawn so many other bats. Ooh. I only wish that this spell wouldn't take so long. Okay, that was kind of mean. I know exactly why I actually wanted to sneak up on her and not just facing her directly on. The queen herself wasn't that tough. I defeated her with 2 strikes, but I'm still not a fan of fighting those bats. But now I'm kind of wondering what kind of society would live in this village. Like just miners, bats, and this little guys with the big heads. Are they getting along, or are they enemy by themselves as well? Oh, come on. Come on! You can't run from me. I'm inevitable. Actually, I hate this line. Okay, this dungeon proves to be a little bit tougher than expected. It's a little bit difficult, to be honest. Well, maybe it wouldn't have been if I would have just used the save point to rest and get everything back. I love how my markers are still just in the distance from interesting places I found in Lernia and hadn't had any time to check them out. I won't pick up the item at the cliff unless I have killed everyone. I really just can't sneak on the guys who are singing. Oh yes, I can. There are actually 2 guys who are singing here. And you have a nice helmet. But you die just the same. Okay, by now I would need some healing back. Okay, no bad to push me down. I still really don't know what the rune arcs are. They kind of seem very important, since you find them regularly, but every time in like a special place. So I'm really not sure. Okay, let's actually see. I want to take this level by level. Checking up this stage. Oh no. Okay, this stage has just another elevator for me. And since an elevator could carry me way further and way more than a ladder, I will take the ladder. Thank you. Thank you. Unless the ladder is taking me to a point of no return. Ooh, if I would be here in real life, I would be so scared. Okay, now I can return rather easily. Die. 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 How could I have ever problems with those tentacle guys? Maybe it's just because now I make so much more damage. Serpent God's curved sword? Well, that's one name for a sword. Okay, let's check out the sword. What is it? Looks kind of shabby to be awesome. To be awesome. To be honest. Let's look at the stats. It's not even that bad. Does good damage, scales more with dexterity. Curved sword fashioned in the image of an ancient serpent deity and tool of a forgotten religion practiced by Met Galmer. I don't know who that is. Firmly used to offer up sacrifices, this sword restores HP upon slaying an enemy. What? I can heal myself with killing with the thing? If I would have a dexterity build, this would be a nice weapon for me actually. Like, I wouldn't see why I wouldn't wield this weapon. Especially if it heals me. But to be honest, I think this is kind of an Easter egg to Sekiro, where they had those great serpent bosses. And as well, every time you kill an enemy, you get healed. So maybe this is just a reference to Sekiro at this point. Yeah, it definitely is. I actually don't want to rest, but I have to rest. I desperately need to get my flask back. I can definitely level up. What do I want? Endurance. Yeah, I definitely want more endurance. Maybe I should also start not just leveling up the obvious stuff, like strength, endurance. Oi. Great. but also I could start upgrading mind and vigor. This looks like a big boss place. Why can't I use torrent? Of course I'm fighting against a dragon. Ooh, you do a lot of damage. Okay. Of course I'm fighting against a dragon with a sword. Get down. Oh, come on. I was rolling away. I hope I'm overpowered enough to slay this guy. Because otherwise I would have to learn his moveset. Especially tell his calls when he's about to do which attack. And his timings. Well, actually this seems easy enough. I don't like this. Why are you throwing up fire? Oh, your sword does... Why are you walking on two legs now? I gotta admit, you are pretty awesome, but... I do not appreciate some of the stuff you're doing right now. I did not expect that. Okay, how am I to fight against you? Well, that somehow worked. Okay, standing close to this guy works. If I am close to this guy. Huh. Okay. In the end, he was easier than expected. I even got a sword and another dragon heart. I could use dragon sorcery now. Ooh, he was terrifying, but in the end, quite okay. Let's look at the new weapon we found. Ooh. It scales pretty good with strength, but I'm lacking faith to use it correctly. Looks kind of shabby though. Well, in the end, it's just a regular sword. Curved greatsword wielded by magma worms. The shape resembles a dragon's jaw and is covered in hard scales. It's said that these land-bound dragons were once human heroes, okay, who partook in dragon communion, a grave transgression for which they were cursed to crawl the earth upon their bellies, shadows of their former selves. Unique skill, magma guillotine. Grab the scale sword with both hands as a worm would. Hold it in its mouth, okay? And leap forward, smashing it into the ground and trigger a blast of magma. Follow up with an additional input to perform a chopping attack. Not bad, not bad. But now the guy we found in Limgrave who warned us about partaking in the dragon communion and getting the dragon spells, I was right. Like, he was warning us about turning into a dragon, which could be kind of inconvenient because you are really, really big and scary, and I think scrolling on your tummy this whole time doesn't really appeal either. Wait. I know this could have been the biggest mistake ever, but... sorry. I don't know why, but every time I'm bored in a game I like to just spin myself around really, really quickly. There are just things in the game that I was actually just interested in what this was. Nothing! Great, that was worth the wait. But yeah, in every game there are stuff you do with your game character that you would never do in human. Like, spinning around, maybe you would do that as a human, so... Actually, developers could look at human behaviors and build an animation that looks accordingly. That's why I like to do that, to look how the animation looks. And there are some games where spinning around actually makes you do something special. But, for example, running straight up against those rocks or against walls. Like, you could never do an animation that doesn't look so weird. Because no one in real life actually would walk against a wall like this. Like, why? What would you do? You can't.